Are the Bengals poised for a breakout year? They're talking about like this is the best offseason that they've had. Similar talk to how it was right when Joe Burrow was coming off the ACL tear. Everybody bought and everybody dialed in, everybody locked in. I want to get what everybody's thoughts are, expectations are for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. Logan, I want to start with you.
It's tough because it kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. With the defense, still has so many questions and how that process works out. Bringing in a new DC, how much he going to change, what roles are going to change. Like that stuff takes time. But then again, like what Evan said, we don't need to go from the worst to the best. We don't need to go to the worst from the top 10. If this Bengals defense goes from where it was last year to uh, slightly below average or just below average in that 27 to like 4 range, like that immediately alone makes this team so much better. And I think that's where you have all the hope that comes from, because the offense isn't going to be worse. There's it shouldn't be worse. There's no real rhyme or reason saying anything on that side of the ball should you know regress in any way. So it's just you're looking at the defense, and it's like, yes, could the defense struggle still? Yes. Will the defense be bad still? Truthfully, it probably will still be in the bottom half of the league. But that difference between where we were last year and jumping up 5, 6 spots, and whatever defensive metric you want to look at is very realistic. And that jump alone takes this team from a team that just missed the playoffs to a team that's in the playoffs to a team that's fighting for the 1 seed, winning the division. Like the margin of error in those games last year was so slim. So the defense just taking even a minuscule jump in turnovers and sacks and just tripping the quarterback. He actually convert a sack or two more, like that, having a massive effect on the Bengals season last year would have been monumental. It didn't go our way a lot, so I think it's everything is there for the Bengals to progress into a playoff team. We all know how good this team should be. It's just there's going to be a lot of working pieces still. There's still going to be a lot of ups and downs, but the Bengals should be a playoff team, and there's no reason to think they shouldn't be a playoff team. They have to be a playoff team, in my opinion. If people want to keep their jobs, they need to be.
I agree with you. One thing I just want to touch on too as well. The one of the biggest things, last thing I'll even mention about the transition thing is one of the biggest things for me or issues I sort of have. And I understand the need for pass rush and defense tackle, but you paid BJ Hill no problem, right? We all thought maybe he was out of there.
Yeah,
you pay BJ Hill, no problem, and you're nickel and diamond for a guy like Trey Hendrickson. I just think that I don't know, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Dana, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think just looking at this for me, where I stand with the Bengals is it's the defense. You put it best. They're probably going to be bad at the beginning of the season. And that may sound like doom and gloom, but that's probably the truth. For me, and this is how I kind of viewed even last year, as poor as the season went, as frustrating as it was, I still stand on the table. The football that I watched a team that I thought could have competed for the Super Bowl last year. And that's a fact. And maybe it seems like their defense was putrid, yes, and they didn't put together 4 full quarters. I understand that. But when I watched those playoff games, it was the Ravens versus the Steelers. I saw a game that was 14 points. I think the Bengals could have competed with the Ravens in that game. And then I see the Buffalo Bills versus the Ravens game. I think the Bengals could have competed. So when I see how their team looked last year versus how they look this year, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to look a whole lot different. You hope that the defense looks a whole lot better, but we saw flashes of that team where you flip 2 to 3 plays and that is a playoff team. So I don't think that they're going to look a whole lot different. I hope and I am confident the defense from natural regression will improve. And I think, like I said, my concern is the depth of the defense. But all around, I've got my hopes high. I've got my, you've got the quarterback and you have the baseline for success with this team. And this isn't like a team where there are so many other teams. I hate to play this card, but you look at the Saints, you look at the Giants, you look at the Colts. There are teams where it's like, man, are we winning 4 games this year? I think the Bengals have a very high floor because of, I hate to say it, but they're star 3 players and Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow's healthy, I think your floor is 8 wins. So this team is one where you put it best. Heads will roll if they don't make the playoffs this year, as they should.